our thanks to His Highness Sheikh Mansoor for inviting so many people to this great Arabian conference. And I wonder, will his colors be carried to victory in the big race on Sunday night? We'll have it live for you. Or I wonder, will last year's winner, first class, win again? Well, talking of first class, I'm pleased to say Emirates are here as the official character. Thank you very much, ladies. So please welcome, look at this, what a setting. We're live at the Dusit Thani. Look at this, the ballroom is full of guests from all. Good morning, are we all well? Are you well? I thought you were. And these people have come from nearly 40 countries. We have over 400 guests. And over the next few hours, we're going to be discussing the main topics in Arabian racing. It's going to be fantastic. Everybody will be getting a microphone to ask questions. So stay with us wherever you're watching around the world. Now behind me we have some of the top people who've come in from around the world. They are some of the best brains in Arabian racing. And I'm pleased to say the man who's going to be looking after the first session today has come all the way from the United States of America. He's one of our top commentators, one of our top presenters. He is a senior broadcaster. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Jonathan Horowitz. Jonathan.
Thank you, Tomo. I may disagree with the senior comment. I don't know if I've gotten into that category yet, but it's truly an honor to be here. I know I echo the sentiments of all of the panelists from which we'll hear and from everyone in the audience. The thanks to His Highness Sheikh Mansoor bin Zayed Al Nahyan Racing Festival for bringing us all together from around the world, and to kick off the second day of panels after a great day of panels yesterday. Yesterday we had the breeding session, the future global racing session, the big announcement about the new Sheikh Mansour Festival race day in France next July with 5 top-class Arabian races, and then finishing with the media and communication session. And the topics for today's panel are equally as significant, starting this morning with challenges in racing, and then at 1:30 we will have the panel for women in racing and the initiatives that the Sheikh Mansour Festival has had, the vision of Sheikh Fatima bint Mubarak for promoting and elevating women in the sport of horse racing and beyond. That'll be wonderful to celebrate. That panel will be moderated by Laura Sawaya. And then at 3:30, the social media panel, and social media has become so crucial for being able to present the images of the horses that we truly love. So starting the morning with the challenges in racing session, and before introducing the panelists who are all top-class horsemen and trainers from all around the world, we'll have perspectives from people based in the United Arab Emirates, based in Europe, based in South America. It'll be wonderful where the discussion heads. I just kind of wanted to take a moment to set the scene because I'm fascinated by the title of Challenges in Racing. And the first thing you think of is, oh, challenges, you know, what do we have to do? It's going to be difficult. What challenges do we have to face? But really, challenges are something that are inspiring, and that I believe that the growth that we have in the Arabian racing and what the festival has become, it's in response to challenges, and that the current challenges that we face are an opportunity for creativity. And I truly believe that when the festival was first started, you know, the vision of Sheikh Mansour, it created challenges for us. Now there is a horse race which has a purse of more than $1 million. It's going to bring people and horses from around the world. We're going to be discussing key topics. Those are all challenging things to do, and so to be able to embrace the challenges, that's why I think the title of this panel is so significant. And to discuss the topics that we'll be going over today, I'll be introducing the panelists. I'll allow them to say a little bit about themselves as well. If possible, I'd actually like them to each start by maybe sharing a challenge that they have faced that has gotten them to be at the level that they are, because none of the people here, none of us have gotten to where we are just because things have come easy. They've all come about because of challenges. So the trainers that sit beside me that I'm honored to share a stage with and that I've really enjoyed getting to know over the years through the festival and beyond, starting with Francois Rojo from France, and in this year's Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan Jewel Crown, Francois will be saddling Chiesa, and has had success in this race previously in 2017, winning with Murakib, and he currently trains some of the best Arabian racehorses in the world, Al Ghadir having just won the Qatar Arabian World Cup. So Francois, it's a pleasure to have you. Let's give a round of applause for Francois, and if there's anything else you'd like to add, but I would like you to perhaps start by sharing a challenge that you faced that has gotten you to the level where you are in Arabian horse racing.
C'est difficile.
It's hard to start with a challenge. I was in Dubai this morning. The challenge is ongoing. I don't think there's one challenge. I think we have many challenges in training horses. The horses do not speak. I prefer to be the trainer of a football team or a rugby team because I could communicate with my team. The horse does not speak, so it's a permanent challenge to train horses, to try to understand these horses, and to adapt our work and what we do to the skills of the horses. So it is a daily challenge, and it's the main challenge we face.
I appreciate that you started with that sentence. We all love these horses, and they're all very expressive, and we're trying to figure out how to do right by them. So thank you. Best wishes in the race this weekend. It's a pleasure to have back, now based in the UAE, Eric Lamartinel, and Eric will be saddling Elaf in this year's Sheikh Zayed Jewel Crown for Yaz Horse Racing. Has also previously won the race with R.B. Byrne, and in the year after, you two stood next to each other in the steward's room when it was a very close finish between Murakib and R.B. Byrne. Eric is just back in the UAE after having spent a few years in Qatar. How is it to be back? And you've jumped right into the Group 1 level, so how has your return been?
Good morning for everybody. I'm very glad to come back to UAE, where I'm the most welcome by many people. So it's a very nice feeling. And it's good to be back to the Group 1 level with Jabal Kwan, with Elaf. We just arrived from France with Xavier in a very good shape. So I'm very glad to be here.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure to have you as well. And continuing down the line, drew in off of the reserve list was Almir Jose Ribeiro, standing in now in seat number 3, and Almir will bring the perspective from South America, highly successful in racing horses in South America. I enjoy receiving the updates that Cidinho Franzau writes, and congratulations on your success in South America, but I'm sure it wasn't easy to get to where you were, so what inspired you to your success?
Great. First of all, thank you very much to Sheikh Mansoor bin Zayed Al Nahyan for this great opportunity to talk a few about what's going on in South America. We are brand new. It's 10 years ago we will start with our first race, and the challenge that you have every day is a new one. The first of all is organize the first race. The second one is have a sustainable numbers of horses to have races at least once in a month at the beginning. Today we have at least twice or 3 per month. And then another opportunity and the great challenge for us is develop the market and improve the quality of horses to improve the competition. And at the same time, as soon as this happens, you will be one person, the winner, very happy, and the other ones very unhappy. How encourage it then to continue on this, and year by year, day by day, continues this challenger. That we are doing in Brazil and also in South America, improving year by year.
Well, thank you, and best wishes for continued improvement. And when you don't win, that's the challenge of can you get better to rise to the next level. Ibrahim Al-Hadrami, a trainer based in the UAE, trains a lot of horses that originated in Oman, training for the Royal Cavalry of Oman, for the Muscat stud, has had success on the Jewel Crown Day, won 2 races back in 2021 with Bahar Muscat and Ittisham, 2 horses that I've enjoyed following. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. And on a day-to-day basis, what are some of the challenges that you deal with to have the success that you have?
صباح الخير.
Good morning, everyone. All the thanks and gratitude for His Highness Sheikh Mansoor for this annual gathering all the professionals in the horse racing area to discuss and to know further faces in this field. If we are to talk about the challenges that we are facing as any trainer, definitely we have challenges, and every success story has a challenge. Without challenges, there are no objectives or a success story from the beginning. So the more we have objectives, we have challenges, so many different challenges, we cannot link it in certain words. And therefore, definitely, the support, especially if we are to talk about the support which is present here through the Emirati races, might be helping most of the challenges. The challenges are enormous and are there. The more we advance, the more we win, the more we develop, the more the level of the challenges really rises. So the challenges are there for any success story.
Thank you. Very nice words. Appreciate that. And next, Ernst Ortel. And Ernst Ortel, champion trainer here in the UAE, has won at the highest level, winning the 2019 Dubai Kahela Classic with AF Mayer, representing not just the great success because it was a horse winning $1 million race, but the success of UAE breeding with Khalid Al Nabuda, and to have that special victory and always a fixture in the major races. And it's been a pleasure to get to know Ernst and Elise over the years, and more so than the successes, the thing I've enjoyed is seeing the horsemanship that Ernst brings to his stable. And with that number of horses, I'm sure that there are challenges, but in watching you around the stable area, nothing seems to faze you. You seem to be very even-keeled. So being here today, just to start out, as far as the things that got you to here, what are the things that you point to as the challenges that you feel like inspired you?
Yeah, thank you to Sheikh Mansoor for putting this event on. We're very blessed to have such leadership, and it's great to have someone looking after Arab racing like he is doing. I've been in Arab racing a long time. I started off in the UK maybe 35 years ago, I think, even longer. His Highness Sheikh Mansoor and Sheikh Thani used to come look at the horses, and when they were younger, and it's just amazing how much it's progressed. And Sheikh Zayed used to sponsor races in the UK, and I think that's where the Sheikh Mansoor Festival comes from Sheikh Mansoor's desire to build upon his father's legacy. And it's just every year it's been a challenge. We're improving, and to be honest, at the moment, UAE racing is, we're blessed here because we really have most probably too many horses and not enough races. And that it just shows the success that Sheikh Mansoor's festival has done here. And I was talking to Elizabeth about the challenges in France and that, and I think we actually have it a lot easier than anywhere else in the world. Really, we are blessed with what we have. So, I think out of all the trainers here, I most probably have the easiest task. So, it's just we have our normal challenges with the horses, but you know, daily, I think we have quite a nice situation here.
Definitely, and big fans of the racing that takes place here, following from the United States. And on Sunday, Ernst will be saddling the reigning American Horse of the Year in Diamond Gem AA, and personally, in my role with the Arabian Jockey Club, I'm very proud with the American representation, and thank you to the festival for including Diamond Gem AA, First Class, both American champions, RB Kingmaker, American bred, and horses that are represented by American stallions. And on the outside post position in this panel is Elizabeth Bernard, who will be saddling Mutbahi Afba, rising 4-year-olds coming off a Group 1 win in the French Arabian Breeders' Challenge in preparation for this race. And Elizabeth saddles horses in the biggest races all around the world. Last I saw, Elizabeth was in the Saudi Cup, and it's a pleasure to have you here. And I'd like to start by asking you, you're an international trainer, and many on this panel are, as far as having the opportunity to run horses. You're based in France, but whenever there's a big race in Saudi Arabia, in the UAE, anywhere in the world, you're up for the challenge for that. So how do you manage all that goes into being able to train at the highest level in your home country while also taking advantage of these great opportunities that are overseas?
First of all, allow me to say that it is also my pleasure to be here. We are very honored to be able to take part in this event that is an extraordinary event. I would like to thank His Highness Sheikh Mansoor, but also his entire team, Lara, Khalil, who are people who are very professional. Thanks to them, we have optimal conditions, us and our horses. To answer your question regarding challenges, I think that the majority of trainers, owners, and jockeys in our industry, we are used to fight like our horses, and for us, challenges are hard, of course, but challenges are an inherent part of our daily lives. The biggest challenge for me today is what Sheikh Mansoor does so well in this geopolitical situation or context, to manage to gather here all the nations, all the religions around the horse, around the races, around the competition. This itself is a challenge. Here everyone feels like we are friends. It doesn't matter to which community we belong. We belong to the big horse community, and this is absolutely extraordinary. Congratulations to Sheikh Mansoor for having managed this. For me, the other person that was up to the challenge is my neighbor, Ens Ortel, because as you know, he lost one leg in his work as a trainer and as a jockey, and it's always very hard to continue life in this situation when we are a person of determination. And in order to succeed as he did, he is no longer with a handicap. He is with one leg, and congratulations for him to all that he does.
Thank you. All inspiring words to start out the session, and I think it kind of sets the tone that we're all up for the challenges, and we appreciate the opportunities that we now have to all come together and to be able to work collectively to grow the sport. Elizabeth, I just want to ask you, because it's a challenge that, I mean, it's not something that is a terrible thing. It's actually a good thing, but it's something that we don't always know about, because, on Sunday we'll go to the racetrack and we'll see you saddling Mutbahi Afba. And what does it take to get a horse logistically from France to here to run in Abu Dhabi? I had a tough enough time traveling over. How do the horses handle the challenge of traveling?
Indeed. From the experience I have, I traveled with the horses on planes when it was still allowed, and I realized that despite our fears, horses manage travel very well, better than us. As Francois said, horses don't complain, they don't express if they're happy or they're not. But having traveled long distances, and I went to the US, to Los Angeles on the year where there was an Arabian horse race in Los Angeles, it was a challenge because there's a big jet lag between our two countries, and thanks to Sheikh, we could really manage this challenge, but we did not win the race. I feel that horses really deal very well with travel. We have to remind everybody that the conditions are good when horses travel, but the issue is when we change climate. When we left, the temperature in France was 0 degrees. Here in the UAE, it's 30 degrees. So this change of temperature is very important, and we have to manage this challenge. We have excellent infrastructure, and the conditions in which the horses are received are really good. We have a team of vets in order to help the horses rehydrate after travel. However, I think that horses deal with travel better than humans. I really think so. And I also wanted to add something regarding challenges. I think that I can speak about this because my entire life was a series of challenges. I come from a very modest family that that was not in the horse industry, and it wasn't always easy to make room for myself as an amateur jockey. I have saddled a lot, and I deployed a lot of effort in order to become a champion. I had a lot of luck during my life, and the other challenge was when I lost my husband. He was the one who taught me everything. It's very hard in France to succeed to a man because women are not as welcome as they are in the UAE. But things are changing because there are more and more women in the field of races, but back then it was a challenge. I wanted to keep the trust of owners who used to work with my husband and deal with the mourning of my husband. It was pretty complicated. But I have to admit that the owners that were at the stables back then were absolutely formidable, particularly in the Gulf, who really held their promises, who always supported me. So challenges are very important, but you need help, you need support, and you need a bit of luck. Because when you have good horses in your stable and you try to do your best, often you find success. So to bring my horse here, I was trusted by Saudi Arabia, represented by my manager. It's surprising in the world of races that people in the Gulf would trust a woman, because in Europe we are misinformed regarding what people in the Gulf think about women. And I would like to tell people the truth because public opinion is misinformed. And I'm absolutely delighted to be here and to have the trust of a lot of men here. It's very easy when you have a good horse to take part in these great races, and the horse, of course, is the one also responsible for the success.
Thank you. That's all very inspiring, and we'll continue with the other panelists. I just want to ask one quick follow-up question. When times were tough, and I can hear the emotion in your voice, and I do hear the translation, but who did you turn to in those tough times that allowed you to succeed? And you certainly have succeeded being up here, having horses in top-class races, but like you said, it wasn't easy. So in those tough times, who did you turn to, or what did you do to give you inspiration?
I wanted to repeat that the owners that kept their trust in me just like they trusted my husband, but also the
horses help me, because going every day to the horses, and I worked a lot. The work requires concentration. You are always busy mentally and physically, and then you don't think about your morning. So first and foremost, horses have given me everything that is beautiful and good in my life, and thankfully this continues. So everything was thanks to horses.
That's wonderful. Finding inspiration and immersing in the work and immersing in what we love. Francois, you're in a similar position as far as being a trainer who runs in big races all around the world, and you're welcome to add on to what Elizabeth said about bringing a horse from overseas, but you have a very successful filly, Noor Al-Mori, who has won 4 straight Group 1 races. They've been against fillies and mares, but now will be taking on male horses and doing it outside of France. So without asking you to reveal all of your secrets, but to be able to prepare a filly to run against males and to prepare for what will presumably be a different pace of race, different conditions on the track, what went into getting the filly to be able to have her best race come Sunday?
I don't have a filly on Sunday.
My bad. Noor Al-Mori is... Sorry, I thought because you train out the deer for us. Okay, so same principle applies. Would you like that filly? Yeah, she's a very nice filly. You have Chiesa. Chiesa was successful in the UAE President Cup, but same idea. Going from France to here, different style of race, coming off the Qatar Arabian World Cup, the challenges of getting Chiesa ready for that race. And I apologize for mixing you and Thomas up. You're both very good trainers.
On Sunday I have Shiza, and this is her first travel, and immediately you can see the difference between Shiza that travels the first time, takes the plane, changes its base and the weather, and Shiza that traveled a lot, went to Qatar, to Dubai. He doesn't mind anymore. He knows the drill. He's used to travel and has adapted much better. Shaza lost 14 kilos during transport. And we know that the first time is tougher for the horses, and we should adapt our work when we arrive. And we have to listen, to try to listen to the horses, to the need to rehydrate them as soon as possible and bring them back to normal working conditions. But each are different. Some adapt better than others. Shaza, since arriving, got 8 kilos and is back in form almost. Also because it's the first time it travels, we give a little margin to the weight. We don't try to bring them back to their best weight immediately, but every horse is different, and we should know them well to know how to prepare them for what for them is a lot of stress to travel by plane. And like Elizabeth, I have a bit of experience because I also traveled with horses when I was young, and we see the travel conditions that are much better since, but they remain very difficult. Turbulence for horses is difficult already. It's very hard for humans, let alone for horses that don't understand what is happening. Now we don't travel anymore with horses, and that's a lot of stress for us also, because for around 24 hours we don't know what the horse is going through, and we have no control over what might possibly happen during the flight, but also before and after landing. There are time lapses. They need time to go through customs, to go through the vet tests. So for them, this is stressful, and for us, it's really stressful also. Once we get the horses back, we have a team in place waiting for the horses. They call us to tell us that they reached, all is well, and then we have a sigh of relief. a big part of the travel is then behind us. And we would like to thank the carriers that even get better year on year, and they understand the situation. We went through stressful times where we didn't know anything about horses. I personally traveled to 28 different countries, USA, Canada, Japan, Hong Kong, Turkey, the UAE, North Africa, Scandinavia, and all of Europe. And every time the trip is very important for the horse and for its performance.
You were describing that are out of your control, and they seem to be the most stressful ones when it comes to the travel. Now, Cheza being 5 years old, you also train Al Gadir, who's top-rated Arabian in the world on 130. He's a 4-year-old. The 4-year-old's taking on the older horses. There's some very talented 4-year-olds, the filly for Al Shakab Noor Al Mori being one of them. But how do you feel a horse that is 4 years old, who's been running exclusively against 3-year-olds, went through the Derby races just for 4-year-olds, now taking on older horses, winning the Qatar Arabian World Cup? Where is their development at as a 4-year-old to be able to run in those top class races against older horses?
I don't think age matters that much. We go regularly to Qatar with our 3-year-olds for the derbies, and in 3 weeks there's a derby where we'll be participating. I don't think that age matters. It's the behavior of the horse that will push us to go or not go. There are horses that are more affected by travel than others and would not be able to handle it well. And so it's the team that decides whether the horse can travel without any trouble, or with that or that horse it's stressed, things are complicated, and we wonder whether something will happen during the trip and then will affect the capacities of the horse and impact its performance during the race. So the performances abroad, away from base, are difficult and are affected by the travel when horses don't adapt to the travel. Al Gadir will participate in a race in February that will be its big first travel. And it left Deauville, but it was a normal transport. This time it will be the first big travel abroad, and we'll be worried. It will be the big concern to see how he will adapt to the weather in Qatar, but he has a character, a personality that's not worrying, and I think it will go well.
You don't see the issue of 4-year-old, you said age doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to choosing whether to run against the older horses. So that's the impression that we're getting.
I don't think that age is a criteria. We saw young horses participate, but there's no travel. Sometimes for Europeans it's complicated, but they perform. You have to know horses that can travel and those that cannot travel. That's the criteria. There are foals that remain in Europe because their temperament, their personality doesn't allow them to go through travel. The trainer and his team will decide whether the horse can travel or not.
Well, I was asking more like, the competition side, but no, I appreciate all the information. Eric, I guess the question I originally asked would apply to you. Filly taking on male horses, what is the dynamic of that and the challenges of that, to run a filly against male horses, the circumstances when you would do it, and how you have to approach it, or if or if it's just something you don't have to worry about.
For the Elaf, you talk about Elaf. She ran a lot of races only for fillies and mare, but there's a good program in France. But now with the challenge is to come to run the best race, so she already ran before against the colt. After it's just the quality of the horse who make it. But you prepare your horse as the same if you run against the filly or the colt.
So in general, is there a different evaluation for fillies and mares? I mean, Lady Princess won this race. She was the best in the world. So, you know, the natural thought in sports is, oh, males versus females. Is that more blurred in horse racing and isn't as much of an issue as it may be if it were a football team of males against females?
I never see football team, but...
or whatever sport that...
No, I think just the quality of the horse make it, you know, like you talk about Lady Princess, she was, at the last 2 seasons, she was the best. She can beat the male easily. You say with the thoroughbred also, you have a beautiful mare like Zarkava, if I remember, or many mares are very good. Just the quality of the horse make the difference. But,
Got it. So you're focusing on the ability of the horse. Almir, you're sitting next to trainers that have horses that are in Group 1 races, and you're trying to develop in South America to improve the quality. What are some of the steps that you're taking with the inspiration that you're getting from being around these really good horsemen and these really good horses that you'll take back and be able to apply? And that not just specifically would relate to South America, but you know, we heard about how China is now looking to develop Arabian racing. What are the lessons that you've learned when trying to build things up from the grassroots level to be able to be a player on the world stage?
Jonathan, great question. From my point of view, I'm breeding, okay? And what are our targets that we have? We need to really build a breeding program to have horses in 3 or 4 years to be competitive. It's not so easy. And also, is a challenger that we must find the right breeding programs, the right mares, the right stallions, build that, wait for the babies come, and 3 years to start. That is interesting because you learn with experience that all the people has, and also the success of great horses that you see is a kind of inspiration for the breeders to continue on that. It's a huge challenger. That is not easy, and our targets as Brazil and also South America is one day have one of our horses racing here with this top horses that is really is the most important racing in the world. We must be here, and as breeder and also as enthusiasts of Arabian horses is improve our breeding programs, and also together, not only the horses, but all the team must come together. We must have all our trainers at the same level. They need to improve. They need to learn. For us, the first challenge 10 years ago is when you start Arabian horses in Brazil, all of the trainers are training only thoroughbreds. They need to learn how they need to work with these horses. That's not so easy. It's not the same. They have a different behavior. You must have a little more care with them. You have horses 3 years, 4 years, 5 years all together, and it's an incredible challenge for the trainers to understand the behaviors of horses and how to play and have the results. Because look, as a breeder, when your horse leaving your home, you say, okay, this is the best horse in the world. He must be a winner. And the challenger for the trainer is, look, you are not alone. You have another 13 guys behind you and try to get the first position. That is incredible and is encouraging. That for us is great because we learn on our own races. Each race you have a homework to do. When you go out and come here with the first class of racing around the world.
First class, what?
First class, not first class, the best class, yes, the best class of horses in the world, you learn much more and see the tricks and the way that the training's working is interesting because I have an opportunity to visit some of the trainers and they are working and say, oh, it's different. Maybe we'll try to do this and that. That's interesting for us. We are coming here to learn. That is important.
And I appreciate what you said about building it up from the breeding, and there's a parallel in thoroughbred racing. Japan really made the investment, bringing in Sunday silence, the quality of the mares, and now that years in the making. So it sounds like you're starting to take those steps in Brazil. Ibrahim, we're starting to see more success from the horses that are in Oman, so you're kind of on the next steps forward. Where is the program at with the horses in Oman? How has Oman been able to improve the quality of horses? So now that horses from Oman are regularly in races like this and having success like you had a few years ago on the Jewel Crown card.
If we're going to discuss about the golf production in general, I believe that here we're talking about the quality of the production. Perhaps in the UAE, as an Omani trainer based in the UAE, and within my colleagues in the UAE trainers, I had a good share in training the Omani horses. So Omani horses, or horses coming from the Omani production, perhaps what is distinguished them is actually the environment, the climate. Oman is maybe perhaps the best climate when it comes to the golf level, and I believe that the golf production, all golf countries produce horses that manage to participate in racing, in a lot of amazing racing. In the UAE, for example, the local production, the horses reached the first group classification. Maybe the Omani classification is not at the same level of the UAE production, but I believe that the Omani horses are the best, the ones that are coming, either from Muscat circuit, and they are the best of the best that are available in the Omani horses. So breeders' interest in Oman played a crucial role in the success of the horses. We are all working together in order to complete this journey. As a trainer, if I don't have a horse with high quality, with high capacity to compete, so as a trainer, I won't be able to reach any results. Omani horses, they delivered great results. For example, Hakimat Muscat, Bahar Muscat, that are now participating. We have also Khayl Sultaniya, we have Zayed, also coming from Oman. All these are horses that have high quality, so the trainer, the moment receiving these horses from the breeder or from the owner, is going to work hand in hand. So we're all saying the champion horse is the one who's making a champion trainer, and not vice versa. The trainer is the one who's exploring the horse, trying to upgrade the qualities and the characteristics of the horse, but it's not possible that the trainer is the one who's going to create a champion horse. The champion horse is always a champion horse.
To have the horse go take on tougher competition with many of the Omani horses coming here to the UAE. Now, Ernst, you're in a unique position because you're having your horses face the best. If you're based here in the UAE, you're taking on the best. But your primary owner, Khaled Al Nabuda, he has made a big commitment to breeding locally in the UAE, and he is trying to raise the level of the local breeding program, while at the same time the competition that you're facing is at the highest level. So how do we create a balance? And it's not just in the UAE, but in the United States, we also have horses that have the rich history of being bred in Kentucky, for the thoroughbreds. But then, I live in Colorado, and we're trying to raise the profile of Colorado breds. So that certainly is a challenge. And what are ways that can help grow the local bred stock, knowing that you got to take on the best in the world at the same time?
Yeah, it's a bit like all over the world. You have Californian bred races in California to help promote the breeder.
So that's the solution, yeah.
And they help the breeder, and the breeder is the cornerstone of racing. I mean, without the breeder, we got nothing. And it's in France they get an incentive. For when they breed, they get incentive when a horse wins the race. They'll get a percentage of the winnings. And I think these are things that we could improve in the UAE about our horses. We do have UAE bred races, but they have cut down in the last few years. And I feel that we really do need these incentives to help horses progress, like because we have such hard summers, and we can start training our horses in August, September, and then they're expected to run in October. And it's impossible to get a horse ready in 2 months, you know. So if you care about your horses, you give them time, and we try and bring them on as slow as possible. And that's why I say our 3-year-olds can't compete with the French horses who've been in training for. We bring our horses on slow. Aim is mainly when we have our UAE championships, and that we'd like to compete with. But to take on the foreign horses, we prefer to do it when they're 4 or 5-year-olds and 6 years old. And if you look after your young babies good enough, they progress. And you know, I've had horses that've been running in handicaps 65, 70, and then they've had the opportunities to improve. They have the races, and they go to group level. And it's just a matter of progression, you know. It's a bit like Emiratisation, where companies are told to employ Emiratis. They're not given the opportunities, they can't progress. Once they got the opportunities, they progress, and you bear the fruits from everyone's work.
You highlight, yeah, that in France you could be training all summer, beautiful climate, and then to have to factor in what the environment is here, and also I believe, and anyone else can jump in, with the Arabian breed, you see their best races. Yes, you do see some precocious 3- and 4-year-olds, but you know, a horse like First Class, he really blossomed in his 5-year-old year, and that you're putting the foundation in those early years so that it pays dividends when they're 5, when they're 6, so the responsibility of handling a young horse the right way, because their best races may very well be in a few years' time.
Yeah, well, it's you know, a couple of breeders, they do send horses over to France when they're 6 months old, and those horses compete with the best in the world. And when they come back here, they can compete with anybody. So we have great breeding, but it is the climate is the problem. I mean, it's like Mr. Hadrami said, Oman has a better climate than the UAE for breeding horses. It's not so tough and severe on the horses. So they can most probably train them, and their horses have an easier life than ours in the hot summer. And that's why I just feel that our horses here just need to have a little bit of help, and which they do get, but we could get more, and it would just progress our horses more. You know, I know Sheikh Mansoor is breeding a lot of horses in the UAE, and Sheikh Tanoon, and yeah, we're all on this journey together, and we're all trying to make our horses the best in the world. So you know, it's just a matter of we give our suggestions, and hopefully people listen to us. That, you know, we've been around long enough to be. We don't want it just for our own benefit. We want to for the sport's benefit. So it's things like that we feel that we all sit together and we can put our heads together, and the racing will progress more.
And that's one thing that this festival offers. So you have the horse, but then you also have to have the right framework for the horse, how you manage the horse. Elizabeth, you have a 4-year-old in the Jewel Crown in Mubahi Athba, made a big step forward to go to Group 1 level and win last time out. How did you manage his development? Because he didn't go in the Derby, didn't go in the Qatar Arabian World Cup, but when he stepped up to Group 1 level, he was able to run very well. So how do you manage the potential of a young horse to be able to make the right decision that now's the time to progress them forward? And you made the right decision because you saw the Group 1 result, and now you're coming here and taking on the Jewel Crown as a 4-year-old.
Alors,
In this case particularly, it's an advantage to be of a certain age because we've known the parents of horses that we train, particularly the father. And Bahibat is from a horse that bloomed at a later age, was not able to compete at 3 years, so it's recommended to know the origins of horses. Obviously, when we monitor and observe our horses every day, we get an idea, but it's also important to know the parents and their behavior. Because you asked me, in his case, he is exactly like his father physically and in his temperament and in maturity. So we had to wait for the horse. He grew up in France. He was bred in France, and it's lucky because it's lucky to be able to breed the horse where throughout the year the climate is better. This is an advantage for horses that are born in France and stay there until the age of 3 years. This is why the work of breeders and trainers in the Gulf is a lot harder because they have to face the harsh climate with very high temperatures in summer. So my horse is exactly like his father, with the same temperament in the morning, the same immaturity, and when we work with owners that understand that, give you all the support and leeway, it's a lot easier for a trainer to protect their horses and to optimize the career as a whole for the horse, and not just the first year when the horse is 3. It's important to have 3-year-olds that are very good, but an Arabian horse, it's wonderful at 5 or 6 years when they have an amazing career, just like Lady Princess and Sylvina Al-Mori that also won at 6 in the UK. And this is thanks to our observation and our work, but also it's thanks to the patience of the owners of horses. So it's easier when you have an owner that listens to you. You tell them your horse needs time, and the owner says take all the time that the horse needs. That's support for the professional. And this is how you manage a later bloomer. But he's still young, he's 4, and this is also the big travel, his first big travel. And like Francois, I wonder if he will handle it. As I see in the morning, it seems he handles it well, but he cannot speak, so I hope he'll be an excellent 5-year-old also.
Wishes, and we're going to get into questions, so please start thinking of what you'd like to ask, and I think it's pretty evident that there's no shortage of topics that we can cover, and the only thing that I think is really stopping us is we may be getting hungry and waiting for lunch, and I know you all want to get back to your horses. Before we go into the crowd to ask questions, you brought up a very good point about having a good owner that understands, and all the trainers on this panel work with some of the owners that are just truly amazing horse people and understand horses. But what advice do you give? Because, you know, someone owns a horse and they think, oh, my horse, he's going to be a champion and I want him to go right away to the top level races. And you know, you say, well, no, we need to take the time to develop. How do you balance the human dynamic of, you know, the horse, but you're also working for an owner that has certain expectations?
Bien, ça fait partie aussi du travail d'entraîneur de ce.
This is also part of the trainer's work to take care of the horse and of the team. The work of a trainer is also to exchange with the owner to find a consensus in order to be in the best interest of the horse. The owner, of course, wants to see the horse race as soon as possible. Agadir, the horse of Francois, won a race at 3 years. It was an excellent horse at 3 years and at 4 years, but not all horses are like this. Some horses cannot race at 3 years old, and it does not mean that they are not good. It's up to us to develop the right arguments in order for our owner to support us to understand the horse. Because what's important is to have a champion. Of course, the owners, when they buy a horse, dream of this horse becoming a champion. This is very natural. However, a champion on the long run is more important than a champion that is only a champion one time. This is why we have certain trainers that can give a long career to a horse, and I think that this is marvelous, and this is even more honorable than having a one-time win at the short term. It's wonderful to have a horse that's 6 years old, 7 years old, and that is still performant, and this is exceptional. So it's up to us to give the right arguments to the owners in order to motivate them to be as patient as the trainers.
You make a very good point, especially with the Arabian breed. You can have, Raja's in the race as a 9-year-old. We in the United States have had Group 1 winners as old as 11 years old, I truly think that it would be a great initiative to have education for owners to better understand horses so that they can make the right decisions like the trainers do. And as someone whose background is in broadcasting, I feel the same is true with media, to be able to truly know horses, to be able to understand them and to be able to do right by them. So we'll go into the crowd to introduce some new topics. Before we do, can we just give a round of applause? We'll do it again at the end, but they've been wonderful. The time that they're taking right now away from their horses to be able to share their knowledge with you, I know it's something that we appreciate very much. So there are a few microphones that are circulating in the audience. Do we have someone who has a microphone and is ready to jump in? If you would please stand up, we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
منظر زويد من تونسي. Je voudrais
Hello, I come from Tunisia. First of all, I want to thank the Festival of Sheikh Mansoor for offering us forums like this one and for allowing us to listen to these professional experts. Thank you for sharing your experiences, and thank you for telling us about your long experience with horses. My question is addressed to all these professionals regarding what we call the seasonal shape of horses. Should we respect the seasonal shape of the horse, or with the international races that are busier and busier, could we force things through a certain vitamins that we can give to the horse to change his seasonal shape? Who wants to answer this question?
It's a very important question, and on a bad way, it could lead to heading in a direction with violations and enforcement of that. So is there anyone who wants to step in as far as doing right by the horses while also trying to get the most out of them?
C'est là qu'intervient la...
This is when knowing your horse is very important, and this is when your relationship with your horse is extremely important. As I said, the horse does not speak, so we should know when it's in its optimal shape. We could do blood tests. We have many tools at our disposal to do so. However, it is up to us to manage the horse's schedule in order to optimize its performance, and in order not to make the mistake of making the horse race when it's not in good shape. The good thing with Arabian horses is that they have a good shape longer than thoroughbreds. We learn to know them. We learn to know their optimal seasons that don't change from one year to another, unless the horse has health issues. But usually the seasonal shape of the horse does not change from year to year. But again, it is how well you know your horse that allows you to let the horse race when it's feeling good and not let it race when it's not feeling good.
Very nice. I think that's the guiding principle. To my right, we have a question 3 rows back.
السلام عليكم مساء الخير للجميع.
Good evening for everyone. I would like to thank His Highness Sheikh Mansoor for this great gathering and enriching gathering, which I have been in for more than a year. It's not a question. Actually, it's an amazement by the Chinese delegation who have spoke about to breed Arabic horses. This is a very important thing. In Saudi Arabia, we are living the joy of winning 2030 Expo. I would like to express on my behalf and on behalf of Saudi Arabia to give a stallion for the Chinese delegation. Altweg, it is very known in Saudi Arabia as a stallion. Hopefully we shall coordinate with the Chinese delegation regarding this horse.
Like Almir said, to develop the foundation in breeding. So that's a very nice thing, and that's all a product of the festival bringing us all together so that these moments can happen. Do we have another question from the audience? Yes, please go ahead, sir.
السلام عليكم. أولا أكرر شكري لاستقبالنا لهذا المهرجان الرائع وخلال أن
I would like to reiterate my thanks and gratitude for receiving us in this great festival, and I would like to thank the trainers who have given us their time in this festival. The question is the following: when is the suitable time for the beginning of breeding? We all know that the bones of the horse, develop with time. What is the suitable time for this horse's pony to start training it and not to carry out races? When is the right time for the horse's pony to start training? We're talking here about the distance. A certain distance, perhaps this pony has to have this distance, or there is these genes cannot take this distance particularly. I would like to reiterate my question again. When is the right and suitable time for the pony to participate in the racing? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a very good question. I imagine that the trainers will say, well, it also depends on the horse, but if we maybe can just go down real quickly, is there a rule of thumb that you have, when it comes to thoroughbred racing? Some people say don't race at 2, start at 3. Some people say you should start at 2. Do you have a rule of thumb when it comes to the Arabian breed as to when a good time to start a horse in training is?
There's no rules. You receive your horse in training, and you see the conformation, the pedigree, and you see how if you look mature or not mature, and you take your time. You don't run after before you need to give a good foundation for your horse, make him in good condition with the muscle, everything. So there's no rules. You just need to have the eyes. And
so that's a great answer, actually, that you don't want to get caught up with, okay, it's 3 years old and 6 months, go gallop.
We wish all to have a winner for the derby, everything, but some horse can do it, some are not mature. But after, if you respect your horses, he will give you back when you reach 4, 5.
I imagine everyone else on the panel agrees. If there's anything else to add, please jump in.
Oui, absolument.
Yes, absolutely. I think that with the radiography, it's a very useful tool in our stable in order to know if we can start a serious training for a race. We call a vet in order to conduct a radiography of the knees of the horse that will give us a lot of information on the skeleton of the horse. If the radiography of the knee you can know a lot about the skeleton of the horse to know if the bones are solidified. If the radiography is does not show good result, the vet can give you very interesting information. They can tell you wait 2 or 3 more months before the skeleton is completely formed. So this radiography is easy. It is not expensive. We start doing these radiographies usually in March in our stable. because usually the first races are in April. So we look at the ossification of the horse in order to better assess.
As a way to get a baseline and see what you're working with. Wow, that's very interesting to hear. Thank you. Please in front, the next question.
أولاً حاب أشكر الشيخ منصور على
I would like to thank Sheikh Mansoor for giving us this opportunity and this yearly gathering, and definitely we got this great opportunity. We want to take advantage with information that would benefit us. We have a question for Ibrahim Al-Hadrami. As for the horses in the Gulf, as you know that the temperature is ever increasing, so during summer does it have a certain program or it stops completely? What do you think in this? First of all, Ibrahim Al-Hamdari is a student, and first of all, regarding your question, if we notice definitely that this year or the season of summer in the Gulf and at the level the countries of the world, this is completely different than previous seasons. The temperature stayed until November. We found a very enormous problem in the issues of dealing with the temperature degrees and to appreciate the rate of advancement regarding training and so on. So summer is one of the best seasons that everyone knows definitely how to consecrate their work. As for me as a trainer, so it's very hard, I imagine, to stop it during summer, and it's very hard as well to make it exposed to temperature, the horse in the Gulf in the summer season, if they did not find a suitable temperature and weather when it comes to the AC and low work. So definitely if it's not done properly or they will not give you all the performance during the season, or he will be delayed. So the presence of stables which have AC, this is of vital importance, especially that I notice in the UAE, knowing that I know what is going on in Oman. In the UAE, it's very hard without AC. Perhaps, I don't know what is the situation in other Gulf countries, but in Oman, it's easier kind of than in the UAE. The UAE, we need stables with AC. The issue of air conditioning, definitely, this is a huge challenge faced by the trainers, similar to me, the private stables, but I'm talking about myself, my stable. The system of AC is great. The horse during summer, they need to work. When it comes to the walker machine and the open games, or if the horse is in a very closed place and he walks for 10 minutes, this I see that it reflects negatively on the horse, on the mentality of the horse, and then when we start trading the horse in the beginning of the season, they will not give you the performance that you used to get at the beginning of the training in August. So it has to have a preparation, this preparation from April until the end of July. So we cannot afford any trainer to ignore summer and to consider that it is complete relaxation. If it's relaxation, so the horse will not give you all his performance in the next season.
Thank you. Ernst, would you mind sharing? You're in the similar situation. What is a training program in the summer here? Because at the same time, you have athletic horses that can't just sit in a box all the time. So how do you balance with those conditions to be able to give them some stimulation physically and mentally?
We are working throughout the summer. We try as much as possible to work very early in the morning. This early in the morning, for instance, we have in the UAE, very early in the morning, the weather is acceptable, kind of, even in high temperatures. Why? Because we are in a desert environment and it's different between one country and to the other. So during dawn, it's acceptable. We work in the dawn very early in the morning. We have a walker machine or a pedicat, so we bring horses in these big distances where we have a weekly program, a day or two to these places or we use the playgrounds during the summer, or the walking machines, or the distances and places. If you put him on a daily basis in the walking machine, this will reflect negatively on the mentality of the horse itself. So I've noticed that the horses in general, to leave the horses in the playgrounds, open playgrounds, has a negative reflection on the mentality of the horses, on the physicality of the horses. So perhaps in the very early hours of the morning, because after 9 o'clock in the morning in May, June, July, the weather is intolerable. Even in the evening, the degrees of temperature might reach 49 and even higher than that. So definitely we start very early in the morning.
Is there anything you want to chime in about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, here we are very blessed. We got all we've got AC barns, and we got treadmills and walkers, and we tend to keep our horses moving in the whole season. We put them on the treadmill. We have a program for them. They do treadmill and walker, and it's like Mr. Adrami said, it's a mentality. You want to try and keep the horse mentally happy and physically happy. And if you just locked them up in the boxes and did nothing with them, the horses wouldn't be the same, and it would take you too long to get them right. So we tend to give them an easy program in the summer, but we keep them moving. We keep them on the treadmill or walker, and the basic thing is to just try and keep their health and keep them happy.
You want a happy horse, absolutely. Our next question up in front, please.
صباح الخير على الجميع.
Good morning. My name is Farha Zaman from Kuwait. We would like to thank the Festival of Sheikh Mansoor bin Zayed for their great reception, and His Excellency Sheikh Mansoor for this kind invitation. The question, I know that you are talking about this, but it's very important for the trainers. Is there a main basis in the world of training the horses? Is there a basis for the world of training the horses?
Would you mind just elaborating what you mean by the translation I'm getting is a basis for training?
لكل قاعدة شواذ لكن حنا هل في
For every basis there is something, but do you have a theory? Do you have a clear-cut theory for training the horses? Do you have a certain rule to follow for every horse? Every horse has different styles to get trained, so do you have a rule of thumb for training the horses?
Please jump in.
In brief, we do not have a rule of thumb in the world of training the horses. I am against any person who says there is a rule. There are schools, definitely. You have your own school, and they have their own schools. The schools are different. For instance, we have lived, I'm talking about the Arab horses. We have lived with the American and French horses. In the Gulf, we put both together, the French and the American schools. So you find in the Gulf, the system of trainers in the Gulf, this is what we call the American school, and those who follow the French school, and those who mix between both. But in general, there is no rule of thumb. You train your horse in a different way, you feed him in a different way, you have different ways. When he comes to me, I train him differently, I give him food differently, and he might be the hero. And perhaps the other way around, there is no rule of thumb. It's only in your head. As a trainer, how do you understand the training of the horse? How do you communicate with the horse? How do you know what the horse needs? Sometimes, you find that the horse, I don't want it to get trained, so it's not as though, simply. So the issue, it's about, what the horse needs is mentality, and your mentality as a trainer, and not a rule of thumb.
My wife, she trains primarily not in racing, but in 3-day eventing, but she's got a phrase that I like. She calls it the no plan plan, and she does get involved with some racehorses too, but I'll ask her, she brings the horse out for a jumping lesson, and I say, well, what are you going to do? She goes, I don't know, the horse will tell me. So that's the phrase that she uses that I think encapsulates that, is no plan plan. There's a gentleman with a microphone up in front.
Yes, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Shukran. Thank you very much for Sheikh Mansoor Festival. My name is Nasser.
I consider myself as an owner. So I only joined this Arabian horse races just last 3 years. And I have a challenge as an owner by having limited breeders, really. We have only maybe the main source to get, new horses like filly or quarter, or maybe we depend on France as number one because they have good quality horses. But in GCC, I feel we still lack having specialized breeders that can produce horses, because if I am an owner and I need to breed horses for Arabian races, I will not be focusing. I will be put a lot of effort in breedings. It will affect the way that how to select, a good horse races and focus on their success in the racing. This is a challenge I'm facing, and I don't know if this is like a generic or an issue here in the region, but I feel in GCC we lack this. Maybe US, there is some farms here really they have very good quality Arabian horses. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's always great to bring in new ownership into Arabian racing, so always appreciate hearing that. And since you bring up the United States, yes, as a breeder, you're making the investment in developing a horse that you won't see racing for at least 3 years. And I think one of the solutions that has been done very well in the United States, and it relates to the breeding session yesterday, is to be able to incorporate new breeding lines into what is being developed, and we're seeing the product of that with the success of the American horses. So it is a challenge to the breeders to continue to be able to develop the breed so that there are owners who want to get those horses because they want to compete successfully in those races. So thank you for sharing that idea. We have another question up in front in the second row.
Yes. Hello, my name is Shruq Al-Hashimi. I'm just like brand new, I would say, owner of a horse here. So my aim is here to learn, actually. Now, the question, here is it. What is the easier way or a track to define which you are going? Is it easier for a new owner to go for breeding or to get the track to racing horses? So how can you define and choose based on yourself and your horse? So any advice? Thank you so much.
I'd be happy to share my view and also to have someone else jump in. I think it comes down to what your goals are, in the sense of if you want to be able to develop a horse and pick the sire and pick the dam and raise the baby, there's a lot of joy in that. And we have people in the United States that's their, they love raising the horses, and so that would be the track for them. And then there are people who they want to have a horse that can go to the races, and to say like, well, you have to raise the horse for 3 years before you can ever race the horse, that would be very challenging. So I think it comes down to goals. Elizabeth, I think you can add something, and Almir also after Elizabeth. Yeah.
Ouais. Je pense que
I think that these are two opposite things. You are either an owner or an owner-breeder. There are two different worlds. It really depends on your expectations. Are you in a rush? Do you like to just pick out a horse, or do you like to really create a horse? This will need a lot of time, and this entails a lot of risks when you're breeding. You have a risk, for example, of the mare not being able to gestate. You have risks that something will happen to the horse before the horse reaches the age of racing. So these are very different point of views, different expectations. You are very young, as I can see, so you can be a breeder. But I think being a breeder is a passionate career. It's very professional. You have to know the horse's pedigree. You have to know the horse's skills. You need to know who to cross with who. Breeding is very difficult, and it entails a lot of risks. If you only want to be an owner, it's really faster. You just go, you buy a horse, depending on the horse's age, a few months later this horse can race. So really this depends on your expectations, but these are two different worlds, different fields. You didn't tell us what was your nationality.
UAE, very nice. Before we get to the last question, Almir was chomping at the bit to jump in.
I can answer you depending on your passion. My experience, I'm with the Arabian horses for more than 35 years. When I was very young, I was a cross-country jumper. One day I say, look, I think that this horse must be training a little better because I have a training, but I can get the maximum for the horse. What we did, I go one step behind and start to work together, the trainer, to training the horse for the competition. To he will be at the best level for that day. That's incredible what they did for this, because you have in only 2 minutes and something, you have all the whole life of the horse and the trainer for months working for only 2 minutes and something. After that, I say, no, better. I think that the behavior of the horses for this type of sport must be changed a little. And I will try to breeding. I tell you, depending on the passion that you have. Now, for 25 years, I'm breeding horses. That's really is a long time in terms of time and money investment, but it's a passion. Because you can imagine one horse that you start with the concept defining the mare and the stallion, have a baby, go to the track, win. In our case, in Brazil, is the best horse of the whole time with the 13 starts and 10 wins. It's incredible. It's great. I think that you can start, okay, finding a horse to put on a track, but in the long term, please, be a breeder. It's incredible. It's everything that you can imagine. I think that Denise has a lot of nice histories. My history is one of that. I'm more than 35 years breeding horses and with horses. And only back to the old question about the timing and the climate. Brazil is in a tropical area, okay? We have races from January to December. And it's not so easy because during the summer, we have a 42 degrees and 95% of humidity. That does look like a crazy time.
Yeah.
What the trainers did, they wake up at 3 in the morning. They must train the horse from 4 to 6:30 in the morning, relax. If they make to something, they will do in the evening. And also the time for the races, you change for this. You not start at 1, you start at 3.
So, it has to be.
You need to adjust completely the timing, also the way to work the horses. And also, São Paulo, for example, is not at sea level. It's 850 meters. You have a less oxygen on that. During this time, it's a little worse for the horse. It means it's incredible work that they must adjust the timing and the way to work with the horse to the horse. Give you the best. It's incredible. It's really hard work. It's
Sure.
not easy.
It's definitely a labor of love. We have one final question to wrap up what has been a fantastic session and challenges in racing. Please bring it home for us.
Thank you, Sultan Hosni from Oman. I will ask Mr. Francois. لقد قال أن
You said that your horse Shiza lost 40 kilograms because of the travel. 14. And 14, 144, and which means that that horse needs to be adaptive, which means that there are some horses that are international and some are not international. From your experience, how can I adapt to these changes? Let's say a horse that doesn't drink water or doesn't eat anything during travel. How can I adapt to such a change? Thank you.
The horse is not refuse to drink or to eat. It's probably under stress. The horse transpired or sweat and it lost weight. I don't think it's a reason to worry. I think that the important thing is for the horse to recover. And the horse ate properly, drank properly, and gained the weight back. It's not a catastrophe when it happens. You should just adapt to the situation, and then the horse will be in perfect shape to race on Sunday. As I said, it's all a matter of observing your horse and knowing your horse. And then you should adapt your behavior consequently. You should give him what he is missing. We also take care of the training. I saw the horse this morning before coming, and he is in perfect shape. He is in a good mood, he is looking good, and I don't think that we will have any worries on Sundays. This is why we travel this close to the race. When we are in Europe, certain horses come in the morning of the day of the race. When we travel for long distances, we travel 10 years ahead 10 days ahead, in order to have a margin and rectify the small issues that the horse can encounter before the trip, during the trip, or after the trip. I think it is all a question of experience and adaptation. I've been a trainer for 40 years today, and I've done many trips, and I will do some more in the future, because it's always a pleasure to come to the UAE and to the Gulf and to take part in races here. And we want to please our clients who are numerous in this region. But you should have the good team, the good staff around you, and you should know how to transport horses. And when the horses get here, you are always very welcome. This is why we never hesitate to come with our best horses to the region. Thank you.
Very at peace about it all. We can have another question up in front.
Good morning, Suhail's baby, trainer in Scandinavia. I have a question to the trainers. We've observed that some owners are buying horses and then assigning the training to several trainers during the same season. Although the trainers are good and bringing good results and good winning, have you ever experienced this? Why owners might assign different horses to different trainers at the same season? Why not only one trainer? Thank you.
You all have very loyal owners, it sounds like, but what do you do in that situation?
Yes, there are owners that are based here that like to see their horses, but they also buy horses in France. It's often the case, because France is a country of horse production and horse breeding. And at the end of the season, they can decide, depending on the skills of the horse. Actually, it's a discussion that we have with the owner. We know that sometimes at the end of the year we will lose certain horses. And sometimes we have a horse for its whole career. I don't think there's a conflict in that. I work a lot in Qatar with the Sheikh, namely, and we do the selection in August. We say this horse will better race in Doha than in France. So we start training these horses for them to be able to participate in the season. So it's all about the relationship you have with your owner. It could be multiple trainers, and I have a lot of experiences with my colleagues here with whom I have common owners. We try. The important thing is that the owner is happy. If the owner is happy, he will come back, he will reinvest, and everybody will benefit from that. And this is the basis of our relationship with our clients. We want them to be pleased. We want them to be happy. We want them to have horses that win races. We also want them to separate from bad horses in order not to invest money that will be lost. And therefore, the relationship can be a friendly relationship.
You have to have with the owner, the camaraderie that all the trainers have, I think is fantastic, and we're truly honored to be in your presence and to hear the expertise that we can all take with us after coming together through the Sheikh Mansour Festival back to our home countries. So let's thank our panelists, but also wish them the very best in the big Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan Jewel Crown with their horses. But I would say that today they are all winners, so thank you very much.
That was terrific. That was superb. And Lara, would you like to come on stage now? Ladies and gentlemen on our panel, would you please stand, because we'd like to say thank you for a marvelous session. And you'll each receive your own special trophy for being an honored guest at the Sheikh Mansour Festival. Here we go, the first one. Jonathan, well done. A very senior broadcaster. I love it. Francois Tribon, thank you. Eric, well done. Superb. And from Brazil, Almir Pele Albero. Ibrahim, congratulations. Lovely. Great country you come from. The most incredible man in the world, Ernst Ortel. And an incredible lady, Elizabeth Bernard. Superb. Could we all have a photo with the Emirates girls as well? And this is lovely. Send these photos around the world. Big round of applause. Absolutely superb. The afternoon session will start at 1:30. Stay with us.
نجدد بكم الترحيب مشاهدينا الكرام عبر قنوات ياس. طبعا مشاهدينا الكرام، قبل لحظات من الآن انتهت الجلسة الخاصة بالتحديات التي تواجه تدريب سباقات الخيول العربية الأصيلة. أكيد سوف يكون لنا حديث عن هذه الندوة وهذه الجلسة. يسعدني ويشرفني نرحب في الاستديو هنا بالسيد توفيق الصالحي، طبعا مدير المكتب الإعلامي لسمو الشيخ ناصر بن حمد آل خليفة. سيدي العزيز، أرحب بك عبر قناة ياس. أهلا وسهلا فيك في هذا اليوم الجميل، في اليوم الثاني للملتقى.
أولا يسعدني أن أنا أرحب فيك زميل عزيز ولك تاريخ حافل في تقديم خلينا نقول احنا عبر قناة ياس، ولي الشرف أن أشارك في هذه الدورة التي تقام بالموسم الثالث عشر على التوالي، وأنا شاركت في العديد من الدورات السابقة، وكل الشكر والتقدير لكم وفي أمركم.
ثق تماما يا استاذ توفيق ان احنا سعيدين فيك، وهذا تواضع منك. انت يعني قامه اعلاميه معروفه في المملكه مملكه البحرين الحبيبه، وايضا في الخليج والوطن العربي. سعيدين بتواجدك معنا. اكيد لنا الكثير والكثير من الاحاديث لنتحدث عنها. نبدا باخر الجلسات، وانت حريص في التواجد في الندوات والجلسات من اول جلسه وحتى اخر. اليوم خربنا عليك، طلعنا قبل 10 دقائق في فقره الاسئله للاستعداد للظهور على الهواء مباشره. التحديات في بالنسبه للمدربين والتحديات في التدريب، في عالم التدريب، في عالم سباقات الخيول العربية الأصيلة، ماذا استشفيت؟ أبرز النقاط اللي ودك تتطرق لها وتحدث عنها؟
ما من شك بأن هذه الدورة التي تقام سنويا في هذا الموعد المحدد يتطلع إليها العديد من المدربين والإعلاميين ومنتجي الخيل، اسطبلات الخيل، لأن هناك العديد من المحاور الواقعية اللي يتكلم فيها المدربين والإعلاميين وكل الأطراف، فالجميع يستفيد من هذا التواجد. وأنا شخصيا استفدت كثيرا، خاصة أن الدورة شاملة الخيل العربية والأصناف الأخرى والرياضات الأخرى في الخيل أيضا.
نعم.
يعني فلات ريس، سباقات السرعة، القدرة، وجميع أنواع السباقات. وأنا أعتقد أن هذه الدورة مركز إلهام ومركز استفادة كثيرة من قبل العاملين في قطاع الخيل.
نعم. بالأمس شهدنا مجموعة من الجلسات، 3 جلسات. أحد الجلسات اللي أنت تفاعلت فيها وكان لك مشاركة كما تشارك في بقية الجلسات، تحدثت مع الإخوان اللي كان يدير الجلسة، توفيق محمد، وأيضا الإخوان الموجودين إلى جانب عبد الرزاق المحمدي والبقية المتواجدين الإعلاميين عن الإعلام والعلاقات العامة. أيضا حدثني عن هذه الندوة.
هو في الواقع يعني محاضرة جدا قيمة كانت أمس، والحديث كان شامل بالنسبة إلى قطاع الإعلام. سؤالي كان أنا إلى المحاضرين طبعا، من يتجاوب الملاك، الفرسان، جميع العاملين في قطاع الخيل مع ما يكتب في وسائل الإعلام المختلفة. طبعا لا ننسى أن اليوم اللي مسيطر على الوضع السوشيال ميديا،
صحيح،
وهو الأفضل الآن، ولكن أيضا للصحافة الورقية، الصحافة الإلكترونية. أنا تناقشت مع 2 من رؤساء التحرير بالنسبة إلى مجلة ورقية ومجلة إلكترونية، ما المقارنة وكيفية الإقبال من قبل المتابعين. اتضح لي بأن مثل ما نتوقع الصحافة الورقية اليوم تواجه معركة كبيرة من أجل البقاء. الإلكترونية ربما خلينا نقول احنا تكاليفها أقل، ولكن لا زالت يعني يمكن اللي في متابع في الصحافة اليومية أو المجلات الأسبوعية لابد أنه هو يتطلع إلى أن يتابع الورقية، لأن الورقية من الزمن الجميل طبعا.
صحيح.
وإحنا اليوم نتابع الصحافة الورقية والإلكترونية. سؤالي كان لهم ما هو وجه المقارنة والإقبال؟ واتضح أن هناك إقبال، أنا واحد منهم طبعا.
صحيح.
يعني أقرأ الجرايد على الصفحات الإلكترونية، لكن أرتاح أكثر لأن أشوف الورقية.
صحيح.
الورقية يعني هي خلينا نقول إحنا تعودنا عليها واحنا صغار.
صحيح.
إلى هذا العمر لا زالت الورقية.
بس أستاذ توفيق، يعني أنا أقول لك السرعة في تناقل الأخبار. يعني اليوم توفيق محمد كان معي على مباشرة، قال لي صحيت على خبر حزين، اعتزال أحد أبطال وكبار الخيول الخاصة في اليابان، بطل شيما كلاسيك. يعني خلاص الناس تبغى السرعة. يعني أنا ما أقول لك الورقية كلنا نعشقها، احنا أيضا تربينا على الورقية، ولكن خفت.
لا اليوم
إذا ما في تطلع من وراها المادة، يعني تكتسب انك تكون ربحيه، ما اعتقد الاستمراريه
هو
بتطول.
اخوي مسعود، اليوم الانسان يتطلع الى السرعه.
نعم.
تفضلت انت ان الاخ توفيق كان على الهواء مباشره، وصل الخبر.
صحيح.
غير لما انا انتظر الجريده الى بكره.
صحيح.
احنا اليوم اتصلنا الجرايد عبر الصفحات الالكترونيه.
نعم.
نقراها، بس قبلها من البارح او من امس قرانا الاخبار. ما صحيح. هو الجديد اذا يعني؟
يا سلام.
لا جديد، انما بعض الاعمده، بعض الجوانب، بعض المواضيع اللي هي ترفه عن روح التغطيه. وانا اعتقد بان جدا مهم متابعه السوشيال ميديا. اليوم السوشيال ميديا تربى على الوضع. اليوم التيك توك ماخذ حيز كبير.
صحيح.
صفحات اخرى ماخذين حيز. فاليوم احنا نبحث عن الخبر، ودائما يدعي، خلينا نقول احنا نكون في مجموعه او في اجتماع او غيره، اللي يمسك الخبر اول واحد يدعي بانه والله انفردت بالخبر أنا.
نعم.
فاليوم عصر السرعه ولا بد ان نتابع.
نعم. طيب انت شو ردك على هذا السؤال اللي سالته؟ يعني انا ابغى اسمع منك انت، يعني تقبل المدربين والفرسان والمرتبطين بهذه الصناعة من التغطية، سواء من التغطية النقدية، يعني نتكلم كنقد رياضي لأخطاء حدثت أو تمارين حدثت أو علاجات، حتكلم عن الخيول، أو الإيجابية. أنت كيف حسيت ردة الفعل؟
شوف الأخ مسعود، اليوم الصحفي أو ناقل الخبر لابد أنه ينقل بمصداقية.
جميل.
وإذا ما كان في مصداقية يفقد السمعة والثقة وكل الأمور هذه. ولكن اليوم كل إنسان ينظر إلى أي جهة من زاويته هو. يعني هو الخبر عاجبه يقول والله ممتاز، التغطية ممتازة. مو عاجبه لأن في انتقاد، لا قال لك لا الصحفي ما أعطاني حقي.
نعم.
أنا أعتقد هذه مشكلة تواجه الإعلاميين وأنا واحد منهم، واجهت هذه المشكلة أمرار يعني.
أكيد لك خبرة صولاتك وجولاتك.
فيعني يجيك المدرب يقول لك والله ما توفقت، لكن كان رد الأخ عبد الرزاق بأن مدرب كرة القدم، لأن أنت تشوف اللاعب تقدر تنتقد وعندك 90 دقيقة، أما الخيل عندك دقائق فقط يعني. صحيح. دقيقة أقل من دقيقة، لازم أنت تكون منتبه إلى ما هو يحدث من أخطاء. إذا أنت كإعلامي يجب أن تكون واثق من نفسك، ويجب أن تنقل الحقيقة إلى ما بعدها وآخرها، على أساس المشاهد خلينا نقول إحنا قبل القارئ يشوف التصوير ويقدر يعطيك رأيه. لكن ربما أن هناك بعض المدربين ما يرتاح إلى الرد. ليش؟ لأن انتقدت أنت، ما يتقبل النقد. فهذا الوضع اللي صاير دائما.
نعم. جميل. احنا سردنا الامور اللي صارت بالامس والامور اللي شاهدناها اليوم. اتكلم عن جلسات ندوات. حدثني عن الجديد عن المملكه الحبيبه مملكه البحرين. تقدمون يعني سباقات مميزه جدا ونواميس جميله بقياده طبعا سيدي سمو الشيخ ناصر بن حمد ال خليفه في سباقات القدره بطل العالم، والذي يعني جمع الكثير والكثير من الالقاب في ال3-4 سنوات الاخيره. نتحدث عن موسم سباقات السرعه، نتحدث ايضا عن الدريساج والقفز. حدثني شو اللي قاعد يجري واللي بنشوفه السنه القادمه في المملكه.
طبعا احنا موسمنا بادي من شهر اكتوبر، الشهر اللي طاف. اذا جينا على سباقات القدره الخميس القادم، عفوا الجمعه والسبت، عندنا بطوله العيد الوطني، بعد عندنا بطوله سمو الشيخ خالد بن حمد ال خليفه، وثم بطوله جلاله الملك، ونهايه الموسم ببطوله سمو الشيخ ناصر بن حمد ال خليفه. في هذا الموسم راح يكون هناك سباق خلال ليالي شهر رمضان المبارك، سباق ليلي في القدرة، وهذا طبعا يتم تنظيمه من قبل الاسطبلات لهم.
نعم.
سباق لهم. في سباق الخيل طبعا بدأنا الآن ننظم البطولة الدولية. الجولة الأولى كانت قبل أسبوع، الجمعة اللي فاتت اللي قبلها، وتستمر إلى 5 إلى 6 أسابيع قادمة. لدينا سباقات السرعة طبعا، ويحرص نادي الفروسية على إنهاء السباق في أسرع وقت، لأن شهر رمضان داخل علينا.
صحيح.
وعندنا في قفز الحواجز بدأنا ثاني سباق الجمعة اللي فاتت. عندنا دريساج، الرياضة الجديدة خلينا نقول احنا، هي ليست جديدة على البحرين، إنما كتنظيم من الاتحاد الملكي الآن للموسم الثاني أو الثالث، وراح يكون الأسبوع القادم. وعندنا طبعا جمال الخيل العربية.
يا سلام.
اليوم جمال الخيل العربية بدأ أمس واليوم، وعندنا 3 سباقات خلال الموسم إن شاء الله.
جميل. وموسمكم الأوروبي لسباقات القدرة، يعني شاهدنا صوركم صور كثيرة.
والله يبتدي مع ختام الموسم في البحرين أو في المنطقة. الجو الحار ما يساعدنا.
نعم. ناجحة كانت ولا؟
نعم. فنضطر احنا نطلع في الموسم اللي فات، أو خلينا نقول في 2023، وجه السعد كان سيدي سمو الشيخ ناصر بن حمد ال خليفه الذي حقق هذا الانجاز في بوذيب، واصبح بطل العالم. ولا يزال يحمل هذا اللقب، ونحن نعتز بسموه
كلنا نعتز فيه.
ونيله هذا اللقب يستحق، لان بعد 23 سنه خذ اللقب خلينا نقول احنا. طبعا كان في عندنا في فرنسا سباق البطولة التجريبية لبطولة العالم القادمة، وسموها أيضا خذ المركز الأول والبطولة. وخلينا نقول احنا سمو الشيخ ناصر وجه السعد ليس في البحرين إنما لدول الخليج.
نعم.
وهو نجم أكد وأصبح يعني يتواجد في كل البطولات العالمية، ونفتخر ونعتز فيه.
نعم.
أود
تفضل في وقت.
أود أنا في ختام اللقاء أن أقدم خالص الشكر والتقدير إلى مبادرة سمو الشيخ منصور بن زايد آل نهيان على تنظيم هذه الدورات، تنظيم السباقات. وفعلا خلينا نقول احنا خدمة كبيرة تقدم للخيل العربية من مؤسس هذه الدولة الله يرحمه الشيخ زايد بن سلطان رحمة الله عليه، ويتواصل نجله سمو الشيخ منصور إبقاء الخيل العربية على منصة التتويج دائما. أنا حضرت في الواقع بعض البطولات بدعوة من الأستاذة الفاضلة لارا صوايا، تواجدنا في العديد من البطولات، وشاهدنا مدى في الواقع الترويج للخيل العربية. ونحن بحاجة إلى مقترح عندي، كلمت أمس الأستاذة لارا، أعتقد أن احنا يجب الآن أن ننظم كأس سمو الشيخ زايد بن سلطان آل نهيان بمثابة بطولة دولية نجلب لها أفضل الخيل العربية الموجودة في العالم، ويترجم هذا الموضوع إلى واقع في دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة. الإمكانيات متوفرة، المالية والإدارية، وكل الأمور طيبة، وإن شاء الله نرى هذه البطولة على وجه التحقيق.
ان شاء الله ان شاء الله نرى هذه البطوله على وجه التحقيق. السيد توفيق الصالحي مدير المكتب الاعلامي لسمو الشيخ ناصر حمد الخليفه، انا اشكرك جزيل الشكر، سعد بتواجدك معي سيدي العزيز.
انا اشكركم وتواجدكم دائما في كل المناسبات، وفعلا قناه ياس هي اللي فارضه نفسها في مجالات الخيل، وموفقين ان شاء الله.
شكرا سيد توفيق، شكرا لك. مشاهدينا الكرام، قبل لحظات انتهت الجلسه الخاصه بالتحديات في تدريب سباقات الخيول العربيه الاصيله. بعد هذه الجلسه تكون هناك جلسه خاصه بالمراه ودور المراه في سباقات الخيول العربيه الاصيله. الى ذلك الحين تقبلوا تحياتي من سعود محمد، والى اللقاء.